Hello and welcome to Basics of C++. So in this video we are going to be discussing about variables and keywords. So what are variables? So as a programmer you are going to accept some input or some data from the user and you're going to store it, and then you're going to use that data to compute some output and you are going to produce that output. So to do all this you need some memory, and in that memory you are going to store data and you're going to store and revive and modify all this data that you've stored and produce some output. So how do you do that? You use variables for that. So basically you are going to uh, allocate some memory in the computer. So C++ is going to say, okay, cell number random, some random number is going to belong to this program, and inside this will be I don't know, maybe an integer or a character, and it'll have a name. So that is the variable name, and you're going to have a small cell which has a limited memory, and you're going to be storing your data in that. That's what a variable is. So there are some ground rules to name such variables. So they are as follows. You cannot, these variable names cannot contain a special character. That means it cannot contain any other character apart from A to Z in caps or in lowercase, and then you can contain numbers. However, it can have the underscore character, and then the next rule is that it cannot start with a digit, and the fourth rule is it cannot be a reserved keyword. So naming a variable is like teaching French to C++. You may say je m'appelle Claude, but then it's just going to understand blah blah blue. So what I'm trying to say here is C++ really doesn't care what you name your variable as long as you follow the 4 rules that are on the screen right now. So yeah, let's take a revision on that. It cannot contain a special character. It can have an underscore. It's not mandatory, but it can have it. It should not start with the digit, and it cannot be part of a reserved keyword. So what are reserved keywords now? So these reserved keywords convey some special meaning to the compiler. So C++ may hear so many things, but it's just going to take it as blah 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 blah. But when it hears a reserved keyword, it's going to be stopping and it's going to think, whoa, that is a word I know. And it's going to see what it means, and then it's going to do some process. It has a specific significance and a special meaning to the language. For example, there's int, char, double, or a few new words you might have not seen, for, or return, while, break. These are reserved keywords that cannot be used while naming variables. There's a full list of such reserved keywords. You really don't need to know them all, but you should have a fair idea of what these reserved keywords are. And moving on, here are some examples for valid variable names. So for example, the first one is my file. It has a capital M and then rest of small case. It has just normal A to Z, so it's valid. Second one starts with an underscore. It doesn't matter. That's okay. That's cool. Third one is just ends with a digit. That's also cool. The fourth one has uppercase, lowercase. It has an underscore. It has a digit. Yeah, that's fine. All of these are valid. Now coming to the important part is the examples for invalid variable names. So let's take the first one, that is data dash rec. So the reason that this is invalid is because it contains this minus sign or the dash sign, which does not which belongs to a special character set. So that is not part of A to Z in caps small. It's not a number and it's not an underscore. So that is an illegal data name. The second one is it starts with a digit. So the rule is you can use digits, but you cannot start a variable name with a digit. That's a preset rule. It's a ground rule for C++. Third one is break. Now, if you remember, break was a keyword that was mentioned in the previous slide. So yeah, so since break is a reserved keyword, if if you name a variable break, it's gonna go like, whoa, 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 what was that? I know that word. You can't just use it. You can't misuse it. It's gonna get all anxious. So you're not allowed to use reserved keywords. The fourth example is my dot file. So if this variable name contains a dot, so which is a special character, so that is also not love. So that is how you name variables. So now let's look into a few examples of naming variables. Here you can see the general syntax is a data type. Now, if you remember from the previous lectures, data type can be int, character, float, or double. So you give the data type, then you give a space, and you give a variable name. So remember in the previous lectures, I said a variable underscore name is what we're going to call it for now. Now that you've learned the rules for declaring variables, you can call it int a is equal to 5. So that line, what it does is it says, okay, fine, I'm going to allocate some memory, a small cell of my memory, and I'm going to call it a, and I'm going to put an integer value 5 into that. Now this 5 can be modified and it can be deleted too. So that's what int a is equal to 5 shows. Second one example we have is float percentage. So this means that there's a memory cell that's going to get allocated, and it's going to be named as percentage, and it's going to store the value 78.63, which is of a type float because it has decimal values. Third example we have here is character C. So this is again another data type. So character means it can store letters and symbols and stuff. So there's going to be a small cell memory that says, okay, I'm called C and I store the value A, capital A, and I'm of data type character. Now let's get back to our old program. So over here now you can see majority of the program is highlighted and underlined, which means you should be able to understand. However, if you do not understand what has been highlighted and underlined, then you really need to take another look at the previous videos. So coming to this specific video, you can see after int main we have int space l comma b comma r. So I'm declaring three integers. Okay, not I could have declared it as int l semicolon and next line int b semicolon next line. But instead of that, I'm just going to declare it in one line. So int length, breadth, and radius is what I am declaring in that line. The next line is double space r underscore area and c underscore area. These are two variables that I'm going to use to store the area that is computed. So the first line is int lbr. Those are my input variables. Double r underscore area and c underscore area are going to be my output variable. So as of now, almost the whole program is complete. However, we do not know what the math behind this is. We might know the math, but we don't know how to implement that in C++. So for that, you're gonna have to stick on to these series, and see you in the next video. Thank you.